Dementia doesn't begin with forgetting names. It begins when you stop bothering to change clothes, don't feel the need to call anyone, don't remember if you've eaten, no one sees, no one says anything. But you're pulling away from life bit by bit. There are things that used to be so normal: getting dressed, eating breakfast, stepping outside, calling someone, even just remembering what day of the week it is. But then one day you realize you aren't doing those things anymore. Not because you're lazy, not really because you forgot, but because they just don't make sense to you anymore. If I'm not hungry, I won't eat. Staying home is fine, no need to go out. It's okay, I'll call tomorrow if I remember. Those phrases you once thought were just choices, but in reality, they could be silent signs of a weakening memory. No one tells you that. Dementia doesn't always start with forgetting names. It begins with very small, very illogical things that you find very normal. In this video, I'll share 9 such signs. 9 things that when you start finding them unnecessary, it might just be time to check in on your memory's health. And if you're watching this video, maybe give it a like or subscribe for more conversations that touch on the real age, the real minds of us older folks. Because who knows, one of those 9 things you might be quietly experiencing every day. Let's begin. The first sign: wearing the same outfit day after day. Have you ever worn just one outfit from morning till night, then the next day, still that outfit, still the old pajama pants, still not feeling the need to change? At first, it's just convenient. Then it becomes a habit. Then you no longer see any reason to change. Older adults often say, "I'm home all day, why bother changing?" But in truth, wearing the same outfit repeatedly isn't just a habit. Sometimes it's a silent alarm. Many psychology experts at Mayo Clinic warn, when older adults start overlooking small changes in daily life, it can be an early sign of mild depression or early memory decline. Not because of laziness, but because the brain is gradually losing its time orientation, unable to tell what day it is, whether you've changed, or if you'll even see anyone who'd notice. Margaret, 73, living alone in Ohio, once shared, "I wore a sweater all week. At first I thought, I'm at home. But then one day my daughter visited, touched my shoulder and said, 'Mom, are you okay?' Only then did I realize maybe I was letting myself go and didn't even know it." The clothes aren't the issue, it's how we see ourselves that's the real concern. Because when you no longer want to change your shirt, it could also be when you no longer want to show up for yourself anymore. But things don't require a big change, just a small gesture. A clean shirt each morning, combing your hair once, a small mirror to see yourself, not to look beautiful, but to say, "I'm still here, I am still me." And sometimes just by changing an outfit, you've chosen again to feel present, to live consciously in a world that easily forgets. The second sign: skipping breakfast because you don't feel hungry. Have you ever sat at the breakfast table, looked at a plate of toast or a bowl of oatmeal, and then whispered a familiar phrase, "I just don't feel hungry"? Many older adults think this is normal. At this age, eating less is fine. But in reality, not feeling hungry isn't a sign of health. Sometimes it's a quiet message from your body. Something is slowing down. After age 70, the digestive system starts to slow. But not just that, the brain, especially the part that controls hunger, also starts to fall asleep. The signals that once made you hungry in the morning may no longer be as clear. This is especially dangerous for someone with memory decline. Research from Johns Hopkins University indicates that a loss of hunger in the morning is one of the early signs of cognitive trouble, linked to the hippocampus, the area controlling memory and orientation. When you skip breakfast, blood sugar drops, energy falls, and the brain becomes even foggier. A cycle begins. No hunger, no eating, not enough energy for clear thought, more prone to confusion and forgetting. Frank, 78, in Minnesota, used to be an early riser, making coffee and eggs every morning. But after a few months of not feeling hungry, he skipped breakfast, drinking only water. His daughter noticed the change not in his stomach, but in his eyes, which were growing distant. After an exam, his doctor diagnosed him with early-stage mild cognitive impairment. Breakfast doesn't need to be fancy. Just a slice of toast, a spoonful of peanut butter, or a small bowl of oatmeal. What's important isn't the amount. It's the biological rhythm being awakened, a gentle reminder to your body, a new day has begun. I'm still here. And sometimes, just by chewing one small bite, you're helping your brain flip a switch it's forgetting to flip on its own. Next is the third sign, not going outside every day. How many days has it been since you stepped outside? Not because you're lazy, but because there just seems to be no reason to. The weather is cold, your legs are weak, and the yard outside the window never has anything new to see. And so gradually, you start to find day and night blurring together, waking up but not knowing if it's morning. Night comes, your eyes are open, but you're too tired to sleep. That isn't just old age, it's a sign your body's internal clock is out of sync. After age 70, our bodies need natural light more than ever, because only natural light is strong enough to wake the brain region that distinguishes day from night, helping produce melatonin in the evening, the hormone for deep sleep, and keeping our mood stable. According to the National Institute on Aging, older adults with little daylight exposure, under 30 minutes a day, have a risk up to 80% higher of developing mild cognitive impairment or dementia. Joan, 74, in Seattle, stayed indoors all winter. After a while, she said her sleep was erratic, she was forgetful, and easily irritable. Her doctor didn't prescribe more medicine. He prescribed her 15 minutes of sun each morning. No park needed, just a chair on the porch, a cup of tea in hand, face toward the light. After a few weeks, her sleep improved. She remembered her grandkids' names and even called a friend for a walk. You don't need to go far. Just let your eyes see the blue sky. Let your skin feel the sun. Let the cool morning air brush your sleeves. Your body will remember where it is and what time of day it is. Because when you don't go outside, your body isn't just lacking vitamin D. It's also missing the signal that says, this is a new day. You are still here. The world is still waiting. The fourth sign, not talking to anyone all day long. Have you ever gone through a day without saying a single word to anyone? No phone calls, no visitors, just the sound of the TV, the microwave, and your own voice repeating familiar thoughts to yourself. At first you might think, I'm used to it, being alone is peaceful. But in reality, prolonged silence doesn't just make the house feel empty, it also makes the brain gradually grow dim. Because our brains at any age need other people to stay sharp. When you chat, even just a few simple sentences, your brain must listen, understand, react, choose words, read tones, recall information. All of these are subtle exercises for your memory. According to a University of Michigan study, people over 70 with less than 10 minutes of meaningful conversation each day saw their memory decline, 5 times faster than those who maintained regular social interaction. Thomas, 81, lived alone after his wife passed away. Initially, he just felt awkward talking. After a few months, his daughter noticed he couldn't remember neighbors' names or mixed up days of the week. His doctor advised, every day, just call one person, not to discuss anything important, but so your brain knows it's still being used. Just like muscles need movement, memory needs connection. You don't need to talk to many people, just a 5-minute call, a hello to a neighbor, a small question at the store. How are you today? Because sometimes the difference between a bright mind and one that's slowly fading comes down to a single conversation each day. Let's move on to the fifth sign, not knowing what day it is. Have you ever sat looking out the window and then suddenly wondered, what day of the week is it? And then just let it go, as if it didn't matter. However, not remembering what day it is isn't harmless. It's not just about forgetting the date, but a subtle sign your brain is losing its ability to anchor itself to reality. Neuroscientists call it temporal disorientation, one of the earliest and most significant signs of the cognitive decline process. Because to know what day it is, your brain does more than you think. It recalls schedules, senses the day-night cycle, connects to routines, and compares with recent memory. If just one link weakens, the whole system starts to fray. Research from the Alzheimer's Association shows Older adults who are frequently confused about the day of the week are 4 times more likely to progress from mild impairment to dementia than those who maintain a basic sense of the calendar. Darlene, 75, in Arizona, didn't think remembering the day was important. "I'm retired, every day is the same." But after she mistook a Tuesday for a Friday, missed an important appointment, and then couldn't remember why, her doctor warned, "This isn't just simple confusion. This is your brain telling you, I need help." You don't need a digital calendar. No complex apps. Just every morning, write today's date on a sticky note and put it on the bathroom mirror. Seeing it, reading it aloud, it's a small act, but it can keep your brain anchored to the present. Because when you don't know what day it is, you're slowly losing a part of yourself, the part that knows where it is in the flow of time. And sometimes keeping track of the day of the week is holding on to the very thread connecting you to this life. The sixth sign, always having the TV on, but not remembering the content. Have you ever watched TV for hours? Then when you turned it off, suddenly realized you couldn't remember a thing you watched. Not because the show was bad, but because your mind just seemed to be somewhere else. That feeling, vague, empty, leaving no trace, isn't just about senior moments. It could be a sign that your brain is gradually losing its ability to process and hold on to new information. Because watching TV, seemingly passive, actually requires the brain to listen, understand, connect visuals, and store it all in short-term memory. If you're looking at the screen but nothing registers, it means your brain has started to sit on the sidelines. According to research from the University of California, San Francisco, this state of watching without remembering is one of the earliest symptoms of early-stage cognitive decline, especially if it happens often and isn't just limited to TV. Raymond, 80, in Illinois, used to watch the news for hours every evening. But when his son asked, "What was on the news tonight, Dad?" he looked blank, then changed the subject. The doctor explained, it's not that he didn't hear, it's that his brain no longer held on to it. But the good news is the brain can be retrained. Instead of letting the TV run on, you could try limiting viewings to 30 minutes and then tell someone one small detail or jot a line in a notebook. It doesn't need to be perfect, just a sentence. Tonight they talked about a storm in Texas. You can also choose programs with a slower pace and familiar visuals, like nature documentaries, cooking shows, or old musical programs. An older person's brain often better retains things tied to emotion and personal memory, because sometimes it's not that you don't care. It's that your brain needs a little help to record what has just passed. And if each day you can hold on to one small piece, then memory is still staying, bit by bit, with you. The seventh sign, not drinking enough water, but not feeling thirsty. Have you ever seen a glass of water on the table and thought, "Oh, I'll drink that in a bit," and then a bit later, you forgot? Not because you deliberately ignored it, but because you truly did not feel thirsty. Many older adults think this is a small thing. "I don't feel anything. It's cool out. Why drink so much?" But in truth, losing your sense of thirst isn't just about weather or habits. It's a sign the nervous system controlling basic survival cues is weakening. According to the National Institutes of Health, after age 70, the hypothalamus, which controls thirst, becomes less sensitive, causing older adults not to realize they're dehydrated until they feel tired, dizzy, or even confused. And what's more important, when the brain lacks water, short-term memory is the first thing to dry out. Evelyn, 77, in Oregon, began showing signs of forgetfulness and unusual fatigue. After a checkup, her doctor found no major problems, just chronic dehydration. After a few weeks of being reminded to drink water regularly, even when not thirsty, her confusion improved markedly. You don't need to drink too much. Just about a small glass of water every few hours, placing the glass where it's easy to see, next to your sofa, near your bed, on the dining table. Or use a bottle with time markers, a gentle reminder each time you look down. Light tea, warm water, clear broth, all count as fluids, as long as you don't wait until you feel thirsty. Because by the time you feel thirsty, your brain may be far more dehydrated than you think. And sometimes each small sip of water doesn't just soothe your throat, it also helps hold on to fading pieces of memory. The next sign is not changing habits despite inconveniences. Have you ever used something that was old, a wobbly chair, worn-out slippers, or a flickering desk lamp, and thought, oh well, I'm used to it. It works fine. Using it for so long makes it a habit. And once it's a habit, change just feels like a hassle. That's very common in our later years. But if you look closely, behind these seemingly normal things lies a key indicator. Your brain is gradually losing its ability to adapt. Adaptation isn't about big things, it's the small stuff. Switching knife hands because one trembles, angling a lamp because your eyes are tired, moving a chair so you won't trip. According to research from the University of Toronto, older adults who struggle to change inconvenient habits often show a notable decline in the prefrontal cortex, the area linked to flexible thinking and behavioral adjustment. This doubles the risk of falls, social isolation, and memory decline. Walter, 79, in Boston, once fell in his kitchen because he always stepped over the same folded corner of a rug. When his son suggested moving the rug, he said, I'm used to that spot. But after a fall broke his wrist, he realized an old habit, if it's no longer safe, isn't just a habit anymore. Changing isn't about giving in. It's how you allow yourself to live more comfortably, more safely, and more independently. You can start with just one small change. Put your slippers by the wall, not in the middle of the room. Move that chair you might trip over. Get a brighter light bulb, because sometimes accepting change doesn't make you weaker. It's how you tell your brain, I'm still in charge. I can still make choices. And in the years when memory might fade, the ability to adapt is precisely what preserves your dignity and your freedom. And the final sign, always thinking it's nothing, despite strange symptoms. Have you ever felt something wasn't quite right? A moment of dizziness when you stood up. A day you forgot your granddaughter's name. An afternoon you suddenly couldn't recall what you planned to cook, and you brushed it off. It's nothing, I'm probably just getting older. It sounds reasonable, but that very phrase, it's nothing, is why so many conditions worsen, why so many chances for help slip by in silence. Older adults are often stoic, often hide things, often try to manage on their own. But that isn't always bravery. Sometimes it's how we shield ourselves from a truth we need to face. With memory decline, this is even more dangerous. The early symptoms are often so vague: minor forgetfulness, disorientation, slight mood shifts, appetite changes. No one thinks it's a disease. And so, we don't mention it to anyone. According to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, over 40% of people diagnosed in the middle stages of dementia said they'd had signs for 1 to 2 years, but had told themselves it was probably nothing. Henry, 82, in Colorado shared, I just thought my mind was slowing down. When my wife asked, I brushed it off. By the time I went for a walk and couldn't remember my way home, it was too late for early intervention. Early detection won't reverse it completely, but it buys you time to prepare, to practice, to stay independent longer. Next time you notice something strange, however small, please don't just tell yourself it's nothing. Talk to a loved one, ask your doctor, write it down, because sometimes one quiet observation, I feel a little different today, could end up saving a lifetime of memories. How many of those sounded familiar? Maybe it's just that you didn't leave the house today, or you forgot what day of the week it is, or you simply can't remember what you had for lunch just a few hours ago. Don't panic, but don't ignore it either, because sometimes memory decline doesn't arrive like a storm. It slips away little by little through the smallest things you no longer notice. You don't need to do anything drastic right away. Just check in with yourself a little more each day. Make a point to step outside, make one phone call, drink one more glass of water, or simply glance at today's calendar and think, right, it's Friday. Those seemingly small things are the very fences that protect your memory. If this video made you think of something, maybe share it with your partner, a relative, or someone else who is quietly aging just like you. And if you felt a little less alone hearing these words, feel free to leave a comment, because who knows, a thought you share today might ease someone else's worries tomorrow. We still have so much to remember, to live for, to share, and I hope you won't forget that. See you in the next video when we'll talk again, gently, like old friends.